Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal law. As rain falls equally on the just and the unjust, so does compassion touch all beings without distinction. The one who conquers himself is greater than the one who conquers 1,000 men. In this fathom-long body lies the world, its arising, its passing, and its path to liberation. Good evening, dear friends in the Dharma. Wherever you are, beneath the gentle light of a candle, by the window where moonlight rests upon your floor, or lying quietly as you prepare to drift into sleep, may your heart feel calm and open tonight. Welcome to this time of mindfulness and reflection. I invite you to breathe softly, as though you are listening to the whisper of bamboo leaves in the evening wind. Each breath, a return. Each moment, a homecoming. Tonight, we will reflect on a tender truth: compassion for the parts we hide. Before we begin, I humbly invite you to subscribe to this channel, not for the sake of numbers, but to walk together on the path of awareness. Each week, we share stories and reflections that help us remember who we truly are beneath the noise. Still, luminous, and kind. May these words be like small lanterns on your journey. Now, let us begin our quiet contemplation. There are places within us we rarely visit. Rooms of the mind where the light feels dim. In those rooms, we keep our anger, our fear, our guilt, our regrets. We close the door gently and say, "This is not me." Yet, the Buddha once taught that nothing in us is to be rejected. Every thought, every feeling, every wound is part of the great unfolding of awakening. When we turn away from our pain, we turn away from understanding. When we embrace it with compassion, it begins to soften, like ice melting under morning sun. Often, people believe that to be spiritual means to be calm all the time, never angry, never jealous, never lost. But in truth, the path is not about perfection. It is about presence. To meet what arises in us, moment by moment, without fear. A Zen master once said, "When you sweep the floor, do not sweep dust away. Sweep with love, for the dust too is part of the temple." In the same way, our flaws are not stains on the soul. They are the dust of living. Reminders that we are human, learning, breathing, becoming. Think of a river. It does not reject the stones that lie in its bed. It flows around them, polishing them smooth over time. So too does compassion flow through us, shaping even our roughest parts into understanding. In my years of practice, I have met many who carry quiet pain. They meditate, pray, or work hard, hoping to erase something inside. A mistake, a regret, a loss. Yet peace does not come from erasing. It comes from seeing clearly and holding gently. The Buddha's teachings remind us that awareness and love are not two paths, but one. Awareness without love becomes cold. Love without awareness becomes blind. But when we bring both together, healing begins. Tonight, as you listen, I invite you to remember this. There is no part of you unworthy of compassion. Not the anxious part, not the tired part, not even the part that sometimes loses faith. All of them are calling for your tenderness. To illustrate this, I wish to share with you a story. A simple story of an ordinary man who learned that the path to peace is not to hide what is broken, but to see the beauty within it. It is the story of a young potter named Ananda, who once lived in the foothills of Sarnath many centuries ago. He was a craftsman of rare skill, known for the grace of his pottery and the gentleness of his smile. Yet, within his heart, there lived a quiet unrest, a sense that no matter how perfect his work appeared, something inside him remained flawed. One morning, while shaping clay beside the river, he broke a pot he had spent hours forming. In frustration, he called himself careless and unworthy. He did not notice that someone had been watching him, an elderly monk who was passing by on his alms round. The monk approached with calm steps, his robe faded with years of wind and sunlight. Seeing Ananda's distress, he smiled and said softly, "My son, the river does not weep when it carries broken leaves. Why then should you weep for a broken pot?" Ananda bowed his head, unable to speak. The monk continued, "The Buddha taught that the mud nourishes the lotus. Without it, there can be no bloom. What you call broken may be the beginning of your understanding." The monk invited him to bring the broken pot to the monastery the next day, and thus began a journey that would change the young potter's heart forever. But that story, dear listener, is only a mirror, a reflection of something deeper within us. The broken pot is the self we hide, the mistakes we cannot forgive, the feelings we fear others might see. Yet, as we shall see, these too can become vessels of awakening when held with love. For now, let us pause and breathe. Imagine you are sitting beside that river where Ananda once worked. The air is cool, the sound of water steady, the earth beneath you still. Each breath is a ripple, each thought a leaf floating by. And somewhere in that stillness, you begin to hear your own heart whisper, "Even this part of me deserves compassion." When the monk invited Ananda to bring his broken pot to the monastery, the young man hesitated. He wondered, what wisdom could there be in something so small, so ordinary? Yet the monk's calm presence lingered in his thoughts, and so the next morning, he carried the pot carefully along the dusty road. At the monastery gate, sunlight filtered through tall bamboo, and the sound of chanting drifted softly through the air. The monk greeted him with a smile and led him to a quiet garden behind the temple. There, on a low stone table, lay many vessels, some whole, some cracked, and some mended with gold. The monk pointed to them and said, "Each of these was once broken, and yet none was discarded. The gold you see is called kintsugi, a way of repairing pottery that honors its history instead of hiding it. The cracks remind us that the object has lived. He took Ananda's broken pot, ran a hand along its edge, and said, "Tell me, why do you call this pot ruined?" Ananda lowered his eyes. "Because it cannot hold water. Because I failed." The monk smiled gently. "And yet, if I fill it with soil and place a seed inside, will it not hold life?" Ananda was silent. The monk continued, "So it is with us. What you call failure may be the space through which new life enters. When the heart breaks, compassion can bloom in its place." The two of them knelt together beside a small pond. The monk handed him a lotus seed and said, "Place it in the soil. Care for it as you would care for your own heart." And so, Ananda planted the seed within the broken pot. Each day, he returned to water it, to watch and to wait. Days turned to weeks. The seed sprouted, the first green leaf breaking through the surface of the earth. He noticed that the cracks in the pot allowed sunlight and rain to reach the roots. What once seemed a flaw now became a gift. As Ananda tended the plant, he began to tend his own heart. When anger arose, he breathed softly. When shame whispered, he replied, "You too are part of me." The young lotus grew, and so did he. One morning, when the flower finally opened, white and pure, he brought it to the monk. "Venerable sir," he said, "I did not believe such beauty could come from this broken pot." The monk smiled. "And yet it has. You see, Ananda, the lotus does not grow apart from the mud. It grows through it. In the same way, compassion is not born apart from suffering, but through it." He placed a hand on the young potter's shoulder. "The cracks you hide are not your shame. They are your teachers. When light passes through them, you begin to see yourself clearly." Ananda bowed deeply. In that bow was gratitude, surrender, and a quiet understanding that his flaws were not obstacles to enlightenment, but openings to it. Dear listener, Ananda's story is not only his, it is ours. Each of us carries a pot within, a heart that has known breaking, a spirit that has felt imperfect. Sometimes we say, "I cannot love myself until I'm healed." But healing does not mean removing the cracks. It means learning to let compassion flow through them. Think of the times you have fallen short, spoken harshly, or doubted yourself. What if, instead of turning away, you could look at those moments with kindness, as a mother would look at her child's first stumble? That gaze alone begins the healing. In Buddhist practice, we often speak of metta, loving kindness. Yet true metta starts not with others, but with the self. To offer compassion to all beings, we must first make peace with the one being we live with every day, our own mind. As you listen, perhaps you can place your hand gently over your heart and breathe. Feel that you are alive, imperfect, learning, and loved. The same life that made the lotus bloom moves through you now. The monk once told Ananda, "The gold that mends the pot is not decoration. it is remembrance. It reminds us that what was broken has not been forgotten, only transformed. May you too learn to fill your own cracks with gold, the gold of understanding, the gold of patience, the gold of love. Let this reflection rest within you like soft rain upon soil, preparing the ground for the seed of wisdom to grow. And now, as we move into the final part of our reflection, let us sit quietly together. The river is still flowing. The candle burns low. The lotus in Ananda's pot has opened beneath the morning sun. It reminds us that every broken thing can become whole again when touched by compassion. As the story of Ananda's lotus draws to a close, let us return now to the stillness of our own hearts. The lesson of the broken pot is simple, yet profound. Nothing in us is wasted. Every sorrow, every fear, every tender place has its role in awakening. When we begin to look with eyes of compassion, what once seemed dark becomes a doorway. The Buddha once said, "In this very body, I declare, lies the path to liberation." He did not speak of some perfect body or flawless mind, but of this one, human, vulnerable, alive. Perhaps tonight, there are parts of you that still feel unseen. A mistake that lingers, a feeling you wish would fade, a memory you hold too tightly. Take a breath. Do not rush to change it. Just notice. This too is part of your practice. To sit quietly with what is, without judgment, without escape. In Zen, they say, when you meet a ghost, offer it tea. It means that when a painful thought arises, welcome it as a guest. Pour it kindness instead of resistance. In time, it will soften, bow, and leave in peace. Like Ananda tending his lotus, you can tend your heart the same way. You do not need to fight your flaws or banish your shadows. Simply care for them. Give them sunlight, patience, and breath. Slowly, they too will blossom into understanding. Compassion is not a feeling that visits once and leaves. It is a way of seeing, a gentle awareness that every being, including you, is doing their best within the limits of their understanding. When you see this clearly, forgiveness arises naturally, like dawn after a long night. There was a time when Ananda thought peace meant perfection, but when he learned to hold his imperfections gently, he became a source of peace for others. So it is with you. The more tenderly you hold your own suffering, the more deeply you can hold the suffering of the world. Listen now. The world is quiet. Somewhere, a temple bell echoes through the night air. Its sound does not hurry. It simply rings, steady and clear. The moonlight touches the river, and each ripple shines. Even the smallest movement reflects the vastness of the sky. You too reflect that vastness. Beneath the layers of striving and fear, you are already whole. Let your breath be your teacher. Inhale gently, feeling the cool air enter like morning dew. Exhale slowly, letting go of the day's weight. Nothing to fix, nothing to hide, nothing to become. Only this simple presence. If thoughts arise, let them come and go like clouds drifting across the moon. You need not chase them or make them disappear. Simply return to your breath, to the quiet rhythm of life moving through you. In this stillness, imagine the lotus once more, its roots in the mud, its petals open to the night sky. The mud does not cling, the flower does not resist. They exist together in perfect harmony. Such is the nature of compassion. It embraces the whole. When you wake tomorrow, may you remember this truth, that you are both the mud and the lotus, both the student and the teacher, both the wound and the healing. Now, dear listener, as you rest, let these final words settle into your heart. May I be kind to the parts of me that I hide. May I forgive myself for being human. May I see the beauty in my cracks, and may I rest in the peace of knowing I am whole. Feel the quiet spreading through your body, like ripples of light across still water. The candle burns low. The air grows soft. All around you, the world is at ease. Tonight, let compassion hold you the way the river holds its reflection, without grasping, without fear. You are safe. You are loved. You are enough. May you sleep in peace. May your dreams be gentle. And when dawn comes, may your heart bloom again, like the lotus opening to the morning sun.